Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for stopping by. You're watching 412 PSC Customs here on YouTube. Alright guys, so here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to take you along on a journey and show you how I install this Draw-Tite Class 3 hitch on my 2016 Ford Explorer PIU. For those of you who don't know, Draw-Tite, Reese, and a couple other of the major tow hitch brands are all made by a company called Horizon Global. You know, a lot of guys are, oh, you gotta have a Reese, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, but really, when it comes down to it, they're all manufactured by the same company in the same factory, and they come out of Edgerton, Kansas. All right, guys, so this is the hitch that we're going to be installing. So a couple of things, tools and stuff that we are going to need to get this done is a torque wrench, an 18mm, 19mm, 3/4 inch, and 11/16 sockets, a ratchet, of course your safety glasses. Always wear safety glasses when you're doing installations like this, some sort of lubricant or soapy water in a spray bottle, a 6-inch socket extension, a pry bar, or if you have an exhaust removal plier, and then an optional universal swivel joint socket piece. I don't know what the heck to call it, but yeah. So obviously this is the direction we're going to install this unit. Now for my truck, the part number is 76034, and this is the Draw-Tite. Now, one major thing that I will tell you guys, if your truck has the factory tow hook, which basically is this little guy right here next to your muffler, that's going to have to be permanently removed. Now, the reason that has to be permanently removed, come on camera, jeez, is because we gotta get to the frame, and the exhaust hanger that you see there, that rubber bushing, that's actually going to attach to the trailer hitch once we get that on. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have my exhaust removal pliers, and I have some Super Tech spray lubricant with the application straw. That's so I can direct my lubricant exactly where I want to put them. Now there's a reason for that, because it's going to make these rubber hangers a little easier to get off. Let me show you what I'm talking. Alright, so these exhaust hangers, we basically need to remove this rubber bushing from this hanger so that we can take that and the factory tow hook off. We also need to take that hanger off, which we will replace once we are done putting the hitch on. Now, I do recommend putting something to hold the exhaust from completely falling down on the ground. You don't want to do that. You can use a ratchet strap. Any kind of strap will work. It'll give you access to installing this on the frame rails and make sure that that exhaust doesn't fall completely to the ground and damage anything. Yeah, so make sure you have something set up to catch your exhaust. All right, let's get to removing these hangers. All right, so the obvious first step to this is spraying a little bit of lubricant up there on the hanger that you're going to pull out. We have another one right here. I'm going to spray a little lube on that. That'll make it easier to get out. And then I'll do the ones up here in the back. Now you don't want to take the rubber hanger or the exhaust off the hanger, because you're going to reuse these hangers. They're just going to bolt to the trailer hitch up here where this thing is on the hanger, because this also is a hanger that's going to be removed. As you can see, it's bolted on right there. So we're going to drop these down, take some bolts out, and get going putting this thing up. All right, so now you can see how we have these hangers disconnected here. Up here in the center, you can see how my bungee cord is kind of holding the exhaust. It did fall down. That's going to give me access to take this factory tow hook and hanger off, and also that exhaust hanger, because we're actually going to be using that hole, and the third hole on the passenger side, and we will be using these two holes here on the driver's side. And you'll see what I mean by this hanger is actually gonna get bolted to a tab on the trailer hitch. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. I'm gonna work on getting these things out. All right, folks, so I've already gone ahead and worked to remove the two pieces and parts that I was explaining to you. Here we have the factory tow hook bracket. There's 3 bolts. There's 2 that go directly into the frame from the bottom, and then there's one up here on the top, which is these 3 bolts. Used an 18mm impact socket with my impact gun to remove those. Those went pretty easy. These ones over here, which is the passenger side frame rail exhaust hanger, just a simple exhaust hanger, that's all it is. Those 2 bolts were a little bit trickier getting out, but same thing, 18mm. Now, if you don't plan to ever remove your trailer hitch, you won't need these parts. Now, if you think that maybe down the line you may want to take it off when you sell it and keep it for another vehicle, I don't know. You may want to hold on to these parts, as you will have to put these back on so that you can hang your exhaust in the back. Otherwise, when you remove this, you're going to lose your exhaust hangers, and I'll explain to you why that is. So what I've done is the 2 rear rubber exhaust hangers here, I completely removed, because what we're going to do is we're going to prep the hitch here. This is where those rubber hangers are going to bolt to. All right, now of course with these rubber hangers, they're really universal. There's no specific way that these have to hang. I think when I took these off, this was the frame hanger, and this one went directly to the exhaust hanger. So that's the way I'm gonna hang these right now. And yeah, so that's where we're at. We're gonna prep this. Once I do that, I'll show you guys that. Now, I'm gonna be using the supplied Carriage bolt, flat washer, and their hexed lock nut, which you're going to need 11/16 socket for that. And of course, for those of you who don't know how a Carriage bolt works, that's great. If you look at the Carriage bolt, it has a hex shape inside here. Now, what that's going to do is when you thread this into here, it's going to seat inside there, and that's going to lock it into place. So when you go to tighten it, when you go to tighten that nut, the bolt's not going to spin. That's how that works. So let me get these things on, and then I'll give you a look at it. All right, folks. So there you have the exhaust hangers prepped. Plain and simple, carriage bolt from the outside. You put the hanger. Now, you don't want to tighten these down too bad. You know, you still want to be able to move them. Flat washer goes on after the hanger, and then their hex lock nut. Same thing on this side. And I will definitely say, guys, you want to make sure you do this step before you go and install the hitch to the frame rails, because if you don't, you're going to be up in there struggling with that, and access can get kind of tight. So yeah, that's where we're at. And actually, I do believe these are gonna hang down like that, because that exhaust is gonna hang in there. It all kind of gets kind of tight once you get her up in there. But there you have it. She's prepped. On to the next step. I'll show you that here in just a sec. All right, guys. So I don't know if you guys remember me talking about using 3 bolts on the passenger side and just the 2 on the driver's side. Now, both of the frame rails have a welded in nut inside the frame rail there. That's where the exhaust hanger and the factory tow hook was mounted using. Those bolts just bolt right in, so there's no need for a nut. Now, on the passenger side, there's a 3rd hole toward the back of the truck, and it's a pretty large hole. You know, it's larger than a bolt hole. So what we're going to do is we got to feed this bolt up in that hole, get this plate also up into the hole of that frame, because that's going to keep this bolt from spinning once we put a nut on it. Now, of course, they give you this really nifty fish wire. Comes with your hitch. So yeah, I'm gonna show you how to get that in there right now. You want to do that before you start pulling your hitch up into place. All right, folks. So, like I was explaining, you see the 2 welded in nuts in the frame rail. So we're going to use those 2, obviously. And then we have this great big hole here. And that is where we are going to attach our 3rd bolt here with the fish wire. So I'm going to try and do this one-handed. You got to kind of push this thing up in there and get it kind of out of the way. You don't drop the plate. All right, so you get that bolt kind of out of the way, and then you gotta somehow wiggle this stabilizing plate up into the hole. Once you get that there, then you bring your bolt somehow through the plate like so, and then, like, you know, so there it is. I'm not seeing how this is gonna not spin. I don't know. We'll see how it works, but that is how you get that in. And then we got to try and get this thing in place and start bolting her in. All right, folks. So now we're at the point where we're going to try and get this thing up in here and bolt it on. I kind of have a temporary little floor jack that I have this thing sitting on, and we're going to try and get this thing up in here. One of the key things that I wanted to mention was, you remember that fish wire from that bolt that we stuck up in the frame? You want to keep that on the bolt for now, just to make sure that you don't lose it into the frame whenever you go to put this up on the frame rail there. So yeah, that's one of the important things. Being that I don't have a tripod with me at the moment, I guess I am going to have to try and pump this thing up and then get you guys some video piece by piece here as I do this. I'm not real sure how this is going to work out. I am doing this as a one-man job. I don't have a helper with me. So yeah, it's a little more difficult, and obviously I don't have a lift or the handy dandy jack that U-Haul uses. So we're just gonna go ahead and do it, I guess. All right, folks. All right, so first of all, I don't recommend doing this as a one-man job, but I was able to get this jacked up into place. You can see there, that's the two bolts that screw right into the welded nuts, and then there is the third bolt there. Now, these come with beveled washers where the tooth side of that washer needs to be facing your the frame of your trailer hitch. Make sure you get that right. Now, 4 of these bolts, the ones that are screwed into the factory welded in nuts, those we're going to torque to 68 foot-pounds. And then we're going to do something a little bit different for that third bolt here on the passenger side. It's a pretty nice low profile look. That's kind of what it's going to look like when it's kind of tight to the frame. It's going to look a little bit different because the exhaust obviously is going to be rehung here momentarily. Here is what your bolts look like on the driver's side. There's only 2 on this side. Those also are going to get 68 foot-pounds with your torque wrench. Make sure you get that right before you go using this hitch. And obviously we have to wire the harness for our lights too. So I'm going to pause this, get these things torqued down, and then we'll go about doing that third bolt on the passenger side. All right, folks, so got those torqued down to 68 foot-pounds. Now we're going to move on to that third bolt, that carriage bolt that's on the passenger side. Now here is the beveled washer that I was talking about. You can see it has teeth on that inside part, and you can see it does kind of have a bevel to it. It's kind of wafered, looks kind of like a spaceship. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on with those teeth facing the frame of the hitch, and then we're going to put this nut on. And for that carriage bolt, we're actually going to hit it to 75 foot-pounds, so a little bit different than the other bolts. All right, folks, so got everything torqued down. I did forget to mention that you're going to use the 19 millimeter to secure those two main bolts on the driver's side, and then the two main bolts and the carriage bolt on the passenger side. So that's what you're going to use to get them done. That's the 19 millimeter. Now, really, all there is left to do is I'm going to rehang our exhaust on these two hangers and the ones back in the middle of the truck. Get them situated, take my bungee cord off of it, and she will be done. I'll give you a look at the finished product as soon as I get her finished. All right, folks, so there you have it. There is the exhaust rehung finally on the passenger side and the driver's side. And also rehung back here. Now I have to say, that's probably the hardest part of this job, is getting all these hangers back on. Of course, anybody that's ever done an exhaust, they know how much of a pain these are. So let's take a look at the finished product from the outside. All right, folks, so there you have it. With the truck still up on ramps, the exhaust is back where it's supposed to be. We now have a class 3 hitch that we can use with a 2-inch receiver. And let me pull it off the ramps and show you what she looks like down on the ground. Well, there she is, folks. Nice and low profile, not too intrusive. Turned out pretty well. All right, guys, well, there you have it. There's the installation of Draw-Tite Class 3 hitch installation on a 2016 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor utility. Thanks to Horizon Global for building this hitch. If you guys like the videos like this, please hit that thumbs up button. Lets me know that we're doing something right here. Obviously our content is kind of back and forth with DIY repairs, other installations. Obviously this isn't the first trailer hitch installation. We do it at the shop. I just wanted to show you guys the installation on my personal vehicle, and there you have it. We ask that you guys please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.